All right, let's talk AI. You know how in this world, developers usually have to make a tough choice? You can have power or stability or a good price. But picking all three, that's been kind of tricky. So what if a new model could actually deliver on all of it? Today, we're breaking down DeepSeek V3.1 Terminus, an AI that's making some serious waves by promising exactly that. Let's see what it's all about.
And that right there, that's the big promise of Terminus. And it's really the theme for our whole conversation today. I mean, in the super competitive world of AI models, just nailing one of these is a huge challenge. But hitting all three, now that gets your attention, right? That's what makes this model worth a really close look.
So what is Terminus exactly? Well, it's the newest thing from the folks at DeepSeek. But what's really important here is what they focused on. See, it's not just about being the smartest AI in the room. It's about making that intelligence super stable and reliable for those really complicated jobs, all while being incredibly affordable.
Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. What are the actual upgrades that make Terminus such a big step up from what came before?
It really comes down to four major upgrades. First, you get smarter agentic AI, which basically means you get AI assistants that are way more reliable for stuff like coding and searching online. It also gets a huge memory boost. Its language is much cleaner, and it has this really clever new feature called hybrid reasoning that we're going to talk about in a sec.
And to give you an idea of what that expanded memory really means, 131,000 tokens is an incredible amount of information. That's enough for the model to read an entire book, or a massive chunk of code, or a super dense research paper all in one go and not forget what it was talking about halfway through.
And then there's this number, a number that'll make any developer's ears perk up. At just 27 cents for a million input tokens, Terminus is, well, it's just incredibly cost-effective. This really opens the door for huge projects and a ton of experimentation for a lot more people. Now, this hybrid reasoning idea is super clever. It gives developers a whole new level of control. You can now pick the right tool for the job. Got a tough, multi-step problem that needs some serious thought? You flip on thinking mode. Just need a quick, straight answer to a simple question? You switch over to non-thinking mode and you optimize for speed and, of course, cost. All right, the features sound cool on paper, for sure, but how does Terminus actually perform when you put it to the test? Let's switch over to the benchmarks and see how all this translates into real, measurable results. I mean, this is the real question, right? Because an upgrade is pretty much pointless if you can't see the difference. So let's see what the data shows about the jump from the standard V3.1 model to this new Terminus version. And wow, check this out. We're seeing a really significant leap here. On this BrowseComp benchmark, which basically tests how well the model can browse websites to find information, Terminus jumps from a score of 30 all the way up to nearly 39. That is a massive improvement in a skill you'd use every single day. And it's not just a one-off thing. When you look at other key benchmarks, you see this pattern of steady, solid improvement. On MMLU Pro, which is a big test of general knowledge and reasoning, it gets a nice little bump. And then on Simple QA, you see another really impressive jump, which just goes to show how much more reliable it's become. Okay, but let's be real here. No AI is perfect. To give you the full picture, the sources do point out that in the process of making the model more stable and reliable overall, there were some minor performance dips in a few very specific niche coding competitions. It's a classic trade-off, right? You're optimizing for that broad robustness, which is what most people want anyway. So we've looked at the tech, we've looked at the numbers, but what does this all actually mean for us in the real world? Why should you, whether you're a developer, a researcher, or just an AI enthusiast, be paying attention to Terminus right now? And this is probably the most exciting part. This isn't some futuristic model that's locked away in a research lab. Terminus is out there, ready to use today, across a ton of platforms. It's on your phone, iOS and Android. You can use it on the web. You can plug it right into your projects with the API. And if you want to get your hands dirty, it's open source. The tools are there for the taking. And that really brings us full circle, back to our main theme. What makes Terminus such a big deal in the AI world right now is that trifecta. It's built to be a workhorse, a really powerful, dependable tool that isn't going to break the bank. In a lot of ways, this is the kind of model the industry has really been waiting for. So, with its smarter reasoning, its massive memory, and that impressive stability, all at a price that makes sense, the question I'll leave you with is this. Whether you're building the next big app or just watching the future unfold,
Is this the AI you've been waiting for? Thanks for diving into this with me.